I have been training for the past 3 years. I have lost over 50 kilograms of fat in my bodybuilding journey, and I have stepped on a bodybuilding stage. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you my biggest secret that I have learned to building muscle. Now, before we get into the video, I actually have my own cookbook with high protein recipes. So if you're looking to increase your protein intake and eat more protein-full meals, then this is for you. If you want to pick up your own free copy right now, you can either go to oathfitness.com or link in the description and get your copy. Now you're going to be very curious and you might be wondering, what is the secret? The secret I call volume loading. What is it? It's a strategic way of approaching training where you slowly increase the volume that you do each week, the volume of exercises and sets you do each week to build more muscle, to push your body further and further. If you know what progressive overload is, it's when you increase the weight that you lift with every single week, with every training session. Volume loading is kind of the same, except you increase the sets that you do every single week. So obviously then comes up the question, why should you care? Why should you care about loading your volume? It's because bodybuilding is all about pushing the limits of your bodies. When you go in the gym and you take an arbitrary number of sets that you're going to do, you're not pushing your body. You're just doing a certain amount of sets. If you go in the gym and you pick a starting number of sets that you do for each muscle growth, and then you slowly increase those sets until you can't recover, you're pushing your body. This is how you grow muscle. And that is why volume loading is so important and it's such a great tool to build more muscle, to push your body even further. So let's dive deeper to actually explain this phenomenon and understand how we can use volume loading to build more muscle. First thing you're going to have to understand is obviously training volume. What is training volume? It's the amount of sets times reps times weight. That's your training volume. What we're looking to change in this equation is the number of sets. That is volume loading. If you're increasing the weight or the reps during your exercise, that is progressive overload. And then again, why would you want to do this? It's because this will lead to more muscle growth. If you take your muscle and you do the bare minimum, you just lift some weights. It's not hard at all. You can do it every single day. Your muscles are not gonna grow. They need stimulus. They need to be doing something that's hard so that they grow. How do you do this? You do this by either increasing the weight that you lift, you do this by either increasing the reps that you lift, or the sets that you lift. And that will accumulate more muscle stress, and that will force your body to adapt and grow. So stick with me here. Now that you know training volume, I'm going to give you a short structure, an aggressive structure of volume loading that you can use. This right here is a 4-week program, of increasing your volume every single week. You will have 3 to 4 weeks of loading the volume, and then it will be followed by 1 week deload. I will explain the deload part later and I will explain why that's important. But now let's focus on actually loading the volume. So on week 1, you will do your normal workout routine. Let's take the biceps. For week 1, you're going to do 3 sets of bicep curls. Let's say you do 3 sets of bicep curls, you recover, you feel completely fine, everything's okay. Then for week 2, obviously because you recovered, you can now do more sets. You want to reach closer and closer to that barrier where you can't recover anymore. So for week 2, you will do something like 4 sets. For week 3, again, you will recover from these 4 sets. You will feel completely fine. So for week 3, you will do something like 5 sets. But now let's say on week 3, you did 5 sets of bicep curls and you got really sore. you really destroyed those biceps. This is when you take a deload. If you cannot recover from the training session, this is where you either stick with the same volume or take a deload. So as I said, for week 3, you do 5 sets of bicep curls. On the 4th week, you feel your biceps are extremely sore. You did the right amount of volume. You pushed your body. You can feel it. That you pushed your body. On week 4, you will do less intensity or less volume. This is what a deload is called. And then again, you will start everything from the beginning. You will start at 3 sets of bicep curls. Then the next week you will do 4 sets. Then the next week you will do 5 sets. Let's say this time you recover, so you do another week. Now you do 6 sets. And the next week you didn't recover, you felt sore, you felt like you pushed your body, you take a deload week. And what you will notice is that the volume, the stress accumulates in your muscles. It slowly grows. Week by week by week, the stress in your muscles grows and accumulates to the point where you can't recover anymore. We're trying to reach that point. We're trying to be in that point where you can't recover anymore and then take a deload week. Take a week off or take a week where you do much less volume. This is fundamentally what volume loading would look like in a 4-week structure. Now for you, this will look a lot different. For example, for me, what I do right now is I increase my sets incredibly slow. You do not want to do things too fast. You want to take things very slowly. So for example, I did for last week, I did something like, I want to say 7 sets of biceps, 7 sets of bicep curls in a week. Then I take something like maybe a week or 2 weeks to really assess if my biceps are recovering from 7 sets. If then I increased my sets to 8 sets of bicep curls per week, and then I did it for, let's say, 3 to 4 weeks, and I feel, okay, my biceps are not recovering. They're pushing the limit. I'm really pushing the limit here. Then I take a deload week. Or I stick with the same volume and keep pushing until I can't do it anymore, and then I take a deload week. This is fundamentally how volume loading works. Why is this so important? It's because so many people are underdoing their volume. If you're doing something like 1 set of bicep curls per week, and you clearly are fully recovered the next week, that means you can do more volume. Do not stick with 1 set. Increase the amount of volume that you do to reach that point where your body is not recovering. There is no set amount of volume that you should be doing. Every single person is different. So if someone tells you that you should be doing 5 sets of bicep curls and do that for the rest of your life, they don't know. They haven't seen you train. They haven't seen if you can recover. They don't know none of that. There is no set amount of sets that you should be doing. You should test it out and see how many sets you can do while recovering. And then a couple of key points that you should also follow. Obviously, prioritize your recovery. If you're volume loading, you will be pushing your body to its limits. So recovery is super important. Don't have bad sleep 1 week and then good sleep the other week, and then wonder why you didn't recover on this week and did recover on this week. That has nothing to do with the volume loading. That has your sleep. Your sleep is what ruined your recovery. So if you're trying to actually do this systematically and science-based, you want to have your recovery the same all the time. You want to have your recovery good. So that's why you want to prioritize good sleep, good protein intake. You want to stay hydrated, and generally this will prevent overtraining. Then obviously, as we discussed, you do not want to skip your deloads. if you do feel like you're pushing your body and it's just not recovering, you're feeling achy everywhere, you're not recovering, you're sore when you're actually training, take a deload week. Take a deload week. It will help you. It will help you push harder after the deload week. Lastly, kind of what I said already, do not increase volume randomly or sporadically. Do not just increase it the next week. Test out your limits. Test out your limits. You do not want to be increasing your volume every single session to the point where you're doing like 30 sets of leg extensions and you're clearly not recovering. You want to take it very, very slowly and systematically. You want to increase the volume, test it for a couple of weeks, see if you're recovering, increase the volume by a bit, test it for a couple of weeks, see if you recover, increase the volume by a bit, repeat, repeat, repeat. And that right there is what volume loading is and why it is so important. Now, if you want to know more information about bodybuilding and nutrition, I provide video courses covering everything. You can either go link in the description or go to oathfitness.com and check those out because they are super in depth, and trust me, they will help you. But besides that, hope this actually taught you something about volume loading. Hope this actually helps you. Comment down below what you think, and I will see you in the next one.